All right, so today we're going to be going over a MacBook Pro that doesn't charge the battery. It's got a green light in the charger, but never turns to an orange light. So let's try and figure out why that is and make some money, because if I don't make some money, then I'll never get to fix the toilet that is that Roto-Rooter couldn't figure out given 3 hours. So let's get started. All right, so what do we do? So the first thing we do is we see if the battery, the charging circuit, is creating 12.26 volts or 12.56 volts. So why would we do that? Why do we check that? Let's look at that, since I've got a lot of new subscribers since my most recent video. So let's just go over that for those of you who are new to how this whole system works. So the battery is going to get charged. We buy this IC over here, the ISL 6259, ignore the typo, that's Apple's typo, and this chip is going to talk to the battery, but it's also going to talk to the system management controller. And the system management controller needs to talk to the battery, to see a battery, to charge a battery, but on that same line it talks to the battery charging chip. The battery charging chip is a chip that creates 12.26, 12.23 volts, which you can tell from charger cell being pulled up using R7012 over here. Now, if this chip speaks to the SMC is going to say, as I've said in other videos, I don't want 12.2 volts. I want 12.56 volts. And if that line is broken in any way, shape, or form, if there's anything on it that may be shorting it to ground, then you're not going to be getting battery recognition. So let's just take a look at that. And let's see. I bought $400 worth of stuff in your Amazon link on the 6th. Make sure those lousy bums add it to your account. Thank you. God bless you. And you're just, that's beautiful. And there are links below. If you do click those links to buy equipment on Amazon, we get a commission. Loving it. So that's all going to go to Roto-Rooter over the next week. That's the downside of a diet based on vegan burritos. Anyway, going back to... That's going back to where we were on the screen over here. So this is the data line, and let's just check out that data line. So that's going to be on pins 10 and 11 of U7000, and this beautiful software coded by Paul Daniels is going to allow us to check that out. So I'm going to put my meter here in diode mode, open up Paul's beautiful software so that I can have the multimeter show up on the screen here, which I haven't updated in a while. He's going to be mad at me. And let's just check out, first things first, with the battery not plugged in, what do we get on PP Bus G3 Hot? So I'm going to get this is where PP Bus G3 Hot would be measured on this beautiful fuse, as can be seen on the board view software here. PP Bus G3 Hot. And we get 12.29 mate volts. And do realize this software is programmed by a gentleman in Australia, so that is not millivolts, that is mate volts, as in, I might. I can't do an Australian accent today. My throat seems kind of sore from all the damn bleach that I had to pour in the bathroom. Oi, crikey, mate volts. I can't do an Australian accent at all. Mate volts. It's mate volts. So we got 12.29 mate volts over there. So let's turn the power off. So it's clear that that communication line likely has something wrong with it. So we're going to put the meter in diode mode and measure that communication line over here. And let's check out how many mate volts. Let's check out the diode mode measurement to ground. Now, look, see this over here? This goes between the battery indicator, the battery charging chip, and the SMC. So let's see if we have a short to ground on this data line that would cause it to not work. So we have the clock line and the data line. It would have only been funnier if Paul Daniels coded the software to use Pepe volts instead of mate volts. So we get 0.501 mate volts in diode mode over here. That's the voltage drop to ground. And on this one, here we go, 0.006 mate volts to ground, which means that we have a short on that line. So there's a short circuit over here, and that short circuit on SM bus, SMC, BSA, SDA, which is this line, is causing that to not work. So let's take the board out and take a look at what it looks like on the other side and see if there's anything here that would cause that to happen. Let's turn off crotch cam because that's creepy, and go from there. Just going to get this board out of this machine. And check it all out. What are you all planning to do for Friday the 13th? Have any good luck plans for tomorrow? Friday the 13th. Can we get a quick rundown of which Hacko tips you use between the 2027 and the 2032? I like the, believe it's the BCM2. I like the T30-KN. And there's one other tip that I forget, but I think the links are in the description down below. I keep all my links in the description down below, where you can find all the stuff that I recommend. And if you make any purchases from those sites using those links, I gets a commissions. Paul, I'm going to update the software. I promise. I promise. I'm going to remember. One of these days, I will remember. You know I never update software. I appreciate it, man. I actually kind of like the Mate Volt system. Okay, let's just pry that little microphone out of there. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, now do remember I was trolled by one of these boards last time, so where it was just a capacitor and not the damn SMC. So we got our motherboard. Apple. That's an Apple motherboard right there. Apple. So, let's see. Alright, so what is on this line? What is on this line? Now the battery level indicator is on the line. We know it's not that. I spoke about that in my battery recognition troubleshooting video. It can't be that. And the reason it can't be that is because that wasn't even plugged in. It could be the ISL6259 pin chip with 28 pins. It could be the SMC chip with programming and over 80 balls. And it could be a capacitor on the other side of the board. Like this. Where is it? Like that. So, let's check that little capacitor on the other side of the board, because I did do a very long video last time where it was the capacitor. So, that would be terrible if that was the capacitor and I wound up doing all this work for nothing. So we're going to turn on the fume extractor and we're going to remove a few components from this board and see if we can get to the bottom of what it is that's causing our short circuit. All right. So, let's do it. You all ready to fix a board? I'm going to remove the capacitor, because the capacitor is the easiest thing to put back on. So I'm not injecting voltage because there's not a lot on this line. There's no point for me to do that when I can just remove the things that may be causing my short. So, capacitor, bye-bye. We're going to remove you. We're going to repeal you. I probably should not be repealing with a micro pencil, but repeal has taken place. Beautiful. Now let's see what our measurement is. Okay, we're in diode mode, red probe on ground, red probe on signal line, and mother... Still getting 0.006 mate volts. Damn, no voltage drop. Boo. All right, wasn't a cat. So what else can we go after here? What else could it possibly be if it's not that cat? It could be the diode. Maybe it's the diode. There's a little diode over here that goes to ground. All right. I wonder if it's you. Well, we do got a little diode over there. And it is covered in hair. That diode looks craptacular. Alright, so maybe we take off that diode. And maybe if we remove that diode, it'll all work beautifully again. We'll have a lovely board with no problems whatsoever. ever. That would be great. And the diode is gone. Okay. Let's see what we get. Is it fixed? How many mate volts do we get to ground? Nope, it's still bad. So it wasn't the diode. All right, what else could it be? What else could it be? It could be the ISL 6259. That is one of the last things left on this line before it goes to Paul. All right, maybe it's the ISL chip. So we're gonna remove that chip. Pray that it's the chip, because if it isn't, no. Look at that. No? Look at that ISL chip. That definitely sends 16 volts to that SMC. You're giving me a donor board that's liquid damaged. Chris Long says it's the DC-in board. You're a troll. Hi from the Netherlands. Thanks for the great and chill videos. Thanks for watching. What? No. Wait, that's Thunderbolt that's broken. Wait, no, that's a 3115. This is a 2936. Of which we have none. Which means that it'll be your job to take it off a 2915 board, then reprogram it to not look for GPU temperature sensors. Nobody ever said this job was easy. All right, here we go. We're gonna figure it out. Is it gone? Hey, it works now. Look at that. 1.5 diode mode to ground. 1.5 Mac volts. Mate volts. So it was the ISL. I got another. I cherry picked another easy board. Yay! All right. Let's get this. Are there any major problems with 13-inch mid-2012 non-Retina MacBook Pro? The major issue with that is the hard drive cable constantly failing. It's that A1278 Pro model is the only model on Earth where the hard drive cable fails at all, much less regularly fails. It's a shame. It's a crying shame. Mate volts. This is all fixed. All right, so we're just going to put ourselves a new ISL 6259 chip on this board and hope that after we do that it fixes our problem. Now, as you all know, if you've been following along for any period of time, that if you need something like an ISL 6259 chip, if you need any chip at all, if you need some sort of tools or some sort of solder paste or flux, have you checked out store.rossmangroup.com? Because we ship from New York City, typically same day. Free shipping within the continental United States for all orders over $30. Great availability. You need a U7000 chip? Just type in U7000 and watch the site auto-complete your needs. Click and watch as it tells you what machines it's compatible with, what motherboard it's compatible with, and you even have live chat down here where you can talk to a technician, typically Paul on the weekend, so you're welcome to bother with all of your questions. And you get to support this beautiful channel that brings you all these component-level board repair videos. Don't delay. Shop today. Back to the board repair. So we're going to get ourselves an ISL 6259 chip. There's somebody that walked in. Go, go. Keep it away. Okay, I gotta find myself a chip that actually works. That's gonna be a fun one. And we've got a donor board. What's wrong with A+ certification? It's completely useless, it's a waste of money, and it will never get you a job that is actually worthwhile. For starters. Okay, let's get our chip. Sellout? What do you mean sellout? I'm not selling nobody else, I'm selling myself. If you're gonna sell anybody in this world, if you're gonna shill anything in this world, it had better be yourself. Huh?
You got a live chat since you mentioned it.
Since what?
Since you mentioned it, somebody's live chatting.
Live chatting what?
I don't know. I didn't answer it. I hate that noise.
Oh god, yeah. I hate that noise too. What's your opinion on disabling discrete video in late 2011 by EFI and then remove power to the buck converter to the ANZ chip? It's a lot of work to get that machine to... If it works, great. If it works. But that is a lot of work to do to get an old machine to have half the functionality it did before. It's not really something I can offer because too many people that use that machine use it for video editing, so if I do that, they're going to be pissed and typically not willing to pay. Just if you do something like that, for the love of God, don't reset NVRAM. I don't know if that would ruin it, but just make sure you don't reset NVRAM. You really don't have much to lose with that machine because that machine is a complete pile. It's a complete pile of crap. Okay. Gonna put that chip back on a little more properly. That thing is as... This chip is ridiculously crooked. Ah! Yeah, that's close enough. Beautiful. Now that capacitor is not really critical, but we want to do a nice job here. You know. Melt solder, there you go. What about my A1260 I'm watching you on? There's no way that's still working. You're making that up. There's no way that thing still works. That thing should have died at least 3 times. At minimum of 3 times since you got it. Okay, time to grab a donor board to grab my diode and capacitor off of. And then we're going to plug this in, gonna see that it works, and that we've made this board great again. You all ready for this? You all ready to see that 12.56 volts in my Pepe Bus G3 Hot? I'm expecting 12.56 volts in my Pepe Bus G3 Hot, and it's going to be amazing. Just you wait and see. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be the most beautiful 12.56 volts that you've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Time to get that diode on there. Paul Daniels says if I see A+ in a job submission, I'll put it to the bottom of the title. Yeah. The problem with that is that if somebody puts that on the job application, it means that they think that it will benefit them, which tells me everything I need to know about that person's experience. And yeah. It's not even the having an A+, it's the thinking that the A+ is good that tells me everything I need to know. Okay, good night, Paul. All right, let's see what we get on our Pepe bus. What do we get on that Pepe bus? So we're going to measure right over here. We're going to give it a second to cool off. These boards are really good at absorbing and dissipating out heat. Multimeter software Lewis edition with forced auto update. Someday Paul's going to code that in. I think you put a way too much solder. That's almost like saying way too much flux. How do you enable subtitles? I have no idea. I'm unable to type and talk at the same time, I'm afraid. Since you do component repair, the qualifications and experience you need to do these is much more than a basic A+. No, you don't understand. A+ is useless for anything. Anybody who lists on their resume a certification that tests you based on how many FireWire 400 devices you can daisy chain, no. It's useless for everything. It's 110% useless. In 2018, in 2010, that certification was useless. In 2018, it's just a joke. It's not even useless. It's just, it's a sad joke. It's completely irrelevant. All right. So let's see what we get on that fuse. Turn on our power supply. Pray that the board still works. All right, it actually still turns on, which is beautiful. Means we haven't gone backwards. I'm going to go to that fuse. Before we see if it charges a battery, I just want to see if we've got proper communication. And it looks like we've got 12.27 volts. 12.27 mate volts. Grrr! All right, what the F? Okay. Let's see. Do we still have a short to ground? No, we don't. We have a proper... Wow. Really, Paul? Kilovolts? Seriously? kV? Crikey volts. Damn, this software is getting this software is as Australian as it gets. It's like Dave Jones and Paul Daniels collaborated to code my multimeter software. All right, so it's 0.483, which I'm expecting, and 0.501, which I was expecting. So that sucks, because what that means is that most likely what's going on is that the SMC got killed when whatever happened. And since the SMC got killed, that's going to be a job for Paul, the guy that just left, because I want to get a burrito before I go home, and I got no patience to do an SMC tonight. Yep, I got no patience to do an SMC at all. I actually don't even think I have an SMC for this board. This thing is ancient. Let's see. I should at least pick out an SMC for Paul so that when he shows up, it's sitting on his desk. Here we go. Well, this SMC has a hole in it. All my old boards are looking kind of crummy. Yeah, he's not going to be happy with this. He's going to have to reball 2 or 3 of them to see if they work. Oh, man. Poor guy. Working here it's something. Okay, so the only SMC I have is on this piece of... So we're going to continue this tomorrow. So look at this board. Look at this. Look at this. What the? Oh my God! Let's put this under the microscope. Yeah, this is definitely a Paul project. Totally Paul. 110% Paul. So this is the board that he's going to steal the SMC from. Wait, this board is a damn masterpiece. Oh my God, it's such corrosion. It's much corrosion. So this is the only board I have that has an SMC on it for this. Look at this. What? That's going to the switch trace of the LED driver. This is probably one of my earlier 2014 repairs, I think. This is like 2013, actually. Yeah, it looks like it was one of the 2013 ones I did before I had the thin wire. So that's going to the feedback via under the LED driver. This is for the backlight fuse because PP Bus G3 Hot wasn't showing up there. This is for firewire. This is for sensor. That's for sensor. Oh. This is another one that I should probably hang. I don't want to take the SMC from this because this board is a damn miracle. This is also for backlight. That's for the switch trace to the coil. That's for the transistor. This is power to backlight. Yeah, this board is a miracle. I don't want to take an SMC from this. This board is awesome. Much awesome. This is so cool. This was we got to do better than that. What else can we find? I can't believe Paul Daniels not only coded mate volts, but also crikey volts in. And that it shows up randomly at different times. Because in the beginning of the stream, I was getting mate volts. By the end of it, I was getting crikey volts. Australia is quite the place. Yeah, that board's a masterpiece. I don't want to take the SMC off of that. If that works, that's one of those type of things that you put up in frame. Like I have another board in the office that is framed. This thing actually works. Let me show you the one that's on the wall. This is framed in my office. Look at this one. This thing actually works. These wires. This is a relic. This goes in a museum. Oh, yeah, I thought that was going to be something simple, but alas, I got to order an SMC. I don't want to destroy a relic. So my theory is that since this, I'll show you what I think happened to this machine in a moment, because it's actually a pretty easy thing to kind of diagnose. So this is a knockoff battery over here. See the knockoff battery? So what they did is when they unplugged the old battery, they likely used a piece of metal to like pop it out. I can tell that the battery was replaced because it's not the original, which means that they shorted these pins on the board over here. And when you short the pins on the board, what you do, and I went over this in the older video, is you take the voltage from the battery, which is 12 volts, and you send those 12 mate volts to the data line, which is 3 volts, and then you pop everything on that line. So even though this was what was shorting it to ground, that still means that the SMC on its data line got 12 volts where 3 volts was supposed to be. So that's no good. That's no good. Yeah. All right. So we're going to continue this repair tomorrow. Unfortunately, it wasn't a quick, easy solve, and since it is 8:29, it is time to get a burrito, and it is not time to replace an SMC. I wish you all a very happy and merry Friday the 13th tomorrow. I hope lovely things happen to all of you, and that's it. Thank you very much for viewing. Thank you very much for commenting, sharing, thumbing up, clicking the links below, especially if you clicked the links below and bought something, because that's awesome. And yeah, see you in the next one. As always, I hope you learned something.